Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is an amazing man. He is, as you know, right? Right? Speaker of the House of Indonesia. He's here to see me. Setya Novanto, one of the most powerful men and a great man, and his whole group is here to see me today, and we will do great things for the United States. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do they like me in Indonesia?
Yes, I like. Thank you very much.
Speaker of the House in Indonesia. Thank you very much.
Do they like me in Indonesia? Yes, I like you. I like. As you know, everybody, this, of course, is what's your title? This is sort of a weird moment. The thing was over. He says goodbye to everybody. He walks away, and everybody starts to, break down. And the reporters there are going to go report to camera about what's going on. And then he starts the whole event again. This weird tacked-on coda to the signing the loyalty pledge event. It was just a strange moment in the moment. It did solve the mystery of who that guy was, who looked a little confused to be in the middle of the big loyalty pledge announcement. He was standing right behind Trump while Trump was doing this thing and holding up the pledge that probably made no sense for somebody who hadn't been following every twist and turn in the Republican presidential primary this year. But it turns out that guy standing behind Trump looking confused while he made that announcement was the Indonesian Speaker of the House. Just an unusual cameo for that man in the middle of our presidential politics. Now, we have talked about that weird moment a couple of times on this show before because it was so strange. From what we can figure out, we think the reason the Indonesian Speaker of the House was there in Trump Tower that day is because of a business meeting. We think the Indonesian House Speaker was there not to talk to Trump about running for president. We think he was there to talk to him about Donald Trump business interests in Indonesia. Well, today, that same man from that weird cameo in the Republican presidential primary, former Indonesian Speaker of the House, Setya Novanto, today he was sentenced to 15 years in prison in the biggest corruption bust in modern Indonesian history. Quote, Novanto was convicted of masterminding the theft of more than $170 million from a national identity card program. The New York Times calling this today one of the most high-profile convictions in the history of this graft-plagued nation. The conviction and this expected 15-year prison term represents the downfall of one of Indonesia's most powerful men and the climax of a long public corruption saga involving this particular guy. As the Times puts it today, Setya had been, quote, implicated in a number of corruption scandals over the years, but he had seemed untouchable. He had seemed untouchable, past tense. Now he's been touched. Now he's going to the pokey for 15 years. So that groundbreaking prison sentence today is important for Indonesia. Also turns out to be a nice sort of coda to the coda of that moment. A sort of final epilogue for what was that all about. I mean, in that moment, if we'd all had better foresight at the time, we might have recognized that that moment with Setya Novanto would be a tone-setting moment for the Trump administration, right? For a recurring problem in the Trump presidency. I mean, if you think about what Trump was doing there, what was Trump doing in that moment in the Trump Tower lobby? Right? He was doing something weird. An event was stopped and over, and he restarted it to do this thing. He restarted it to brag about the powerful nature of this man who had come to see him on a business matter. But he also sort of randomly and without need to, he went out of his way to give his own Donald Trump public endorsement to this man in front of the assembled National Press Corps. I mean, it seems clear from the way he handled that moment, he didn't even know the guy's name. You can see him reading the guy's name off a note card when he makes this announcement. Even reading it off the note card, he still gets the guy's name wrong. I mean, in such a circumstance, why would you call that person a great man, as he did? He said, this is a great man. Why would you give that kind of endorsement when you don't even know the guy's name well enough to read it correctly off a piece of paper? Why make that sort of public endorsement when you apparently really have no idea about even the very basic background of this famously corrupt person who's standing beside you?